Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope you all are well. Today, we'll be going through the carryover balances, the contract rate and IPR, and if time permits, we will go through indexation too. So, now let's start with the carryover balances. We use this function especially when we have a contract that is already active and in operation, and to bring it to Nakisa. Another example where we use the carryover function is when we have to terminate a contract midway for some reason and then recreate it from the terminated date. We need to enter the carryover balances at the lease component level, but these can be modified at the activation group level before activating the contract. And we need to enter these details in both contract currency as well as the company currency. First, in order to access the carryover section in the lease component level, we need to enable enable a switch in the manager page. This is under the accounting settings, uh, and once this is enabled, we will have this particular section in the lease component level.
Yeah, Pratibha, just this session is recording or how it will be?
It is recorded.
Okay, okay, thank you.
No problem. So yeah, once we enable the switch, we can enter the details.
Sorry to interrupt, Pratibha. I just wanted to mention that yes, the session is recorded, and we are posting recordings on our platform or our customer portal, where you can see all the previous office hour session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So once we enable the switch, we can enter the details as shown. We need to enter the current asset gross book value in the local currency. We have current asset accumulated depreciation value in local currency, accumulated uh, accumulated depre- uh, accumulated impairment value in local currency, and the current maximum impairment reversal value in the local currency. Note that this is available only for IFRS, and the impairment reversal value must be less than the impairment amount. And then we need to enter all these detail in the contract currency. So the best way to get the accurate information will be to extract the asset roll forward report using the company currency as target currency to get the details of opening GBV, impairment, and accumulated depreciation. Now these details are entered only for for our main accounting standard, and if we require these information to be different in our alternative standard, for example, our GBV and accumulated depreciation is different in IFRS and US GAAP, we need to enable another switch. Again, this is under accounting settings, and it will allow us to have information input for both standards from the activation group level. So here, once the switch is enabled, we can have the details in our main accounting standard, which is IAS, and the alternative accounting standard, US GAAP. And we also have to input the override capitalization date in order to continue with the workflow. This indicates the date of when the asset was actually capitalized. The application will send this date instead of the activation date in the capitalization date field in SAP. And another thing to note is if this button is enabled, the carryover balance in the activation group per accounting standard is especially on, the application compares the specified capitalization date with the transfer date from SAP. When the capitalization date is not in the same year as the transfer date from SAP, and if the prior year accumulated depreciation is set, then the application sends it to SAP. The GBV will be sent to SAP. And if the current year accumulated depreciation is set, if the lease is financed, then the application sends the value of each depreciation area for accounting standard with currency type 10, which is your local currency. And if
Ei, Sas. Ei.
pardon? Do anyone
Was
have
there
any
a question? Go ahead, Pratibha. I think it was some noise.
Okay. So, and if the lease is operating, then the application sends the value as unplanned depreciation. Similarly, when the capitalization date is same as the transfer date, and if the prior year accumulated depreciation is entered, the application will throw an error. And if no prior year accumulated depreciation is set, the application sends the asset GBV. And if the current year accumulated depreciation is set, then if the lease is financed, the application sends the current year accumulated depreciation value. And if it is operating, then the application sends the current year accumulated depreciation value as the unplanned depreciation for each depreciation area for that accounting standard with currency type 10, again, your local currency. And this transaction type for unplanned depreciation for current year GPV are configured in the manager page. And now, if we are uploading the contract through template, we have a separate tab to enter the carryover balances. As we saw before, the information is input both in contract and company currency. And we have a separate step if we have carryover balance, since we require the override capitalization date to continue with the workflow, that is to click on the send to assessment. Hence, we need to download the activation group and then input the override capitalization date. And this is also where we input the the carryover balance for the alternate currency. So for the first line belongs to the main accounting standard, and the second line is for the alternative standard. So here, once we upload the activation group template, we get the changes. So you can see 200,000 and 100,000 was set for the alternative accounting standard. And here for US GAAP, we have 200,000 and 100,000. And the override capitalization date is also set. Do anyone have any question?
Yeah, like if we need to take for like example, if we need to take the acquisition value for the current year separately, so then what is the procedure? Like usually we used to take only the total GBV value, gross book value of the asset. But the thing is like if contract we are transferring from mid of the year, then the asset will be like if any correction was done for that first current year, so then the how we can take that current year acquisition separately. Like prior year, yes, anyhow it will come under company's GBB asset GBB value. But how about current year acquisition? We need a separate field for current year acquisition as well.
Ramesh, just to clarify, we're talking here about the gross book value or the accumulated depreciation?
Yeah, so in this, yes, yes, but here we need current year acquisition also separately. Like then,
No, we don't have. So gross book value, the cost of the asset is one field, what we have is a separate field. We have two separate fields for accumulated depreciation that allows you to separate between prior year and current year.
Yeah,
All the
like
prior year.
yeah, depreciation level, yes, we have prior year and the current year, but on current GBB value level, like we have such option like current year capitalization and the prior year capitalization, such fields in NLS system.
I
Like example, we have started the contract in 2023.
yes,
So we bring the changes in 2024 Feb. Like if CPI indexation was happen in 2024, like for the
yes.
2024 also included with the current GBB. But we need that 2024. We have to show it in for reporting purpose. We have to need the separate separate. We have to show that in current year with a separate field like current year GBB like that.
But the balance will be only one.
Yeah, like total overall it will be one. But if we need the current year GBB separately, then what will be the procedure?
Well, the opening balance is only one balance. So from the date of the activation, you can't refer to a current year and previous year for the opening balance. So
Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay.
I'm having a hard time following what is the need here. Perhaps we can take
Because
this offline.
yeah, because this is Elvira is ongoing now. So like if we configure this to SAP, so there if for current year reporting purpose we required such setup. Like already if we do that, so reporting flow will be will give a clear information for us. So that's why we required this field. So that's why I asked this question.
Right. So we can take this offline and you can give us an example, but the balance should be only one. And if you have a need to start from the beginning of your fiscal year, the recreation of the contract, that's possible too. But you should not have two balances for the gross book value. And I believe even for the SAP side, you are not able to transmit that. Could you check that with your SAP?
Yeah, I'll check that because in SAP we used to get it as a reassessment.
Well, yes, but here we're talking about an activation
Yeah,
of a contract with carryover balance. So the reassessment is already included in your opening balance.
yeah. So that if prior year and current year, if the activation is done in prior year, but the reassessment was happened in current year, then how it going to be differentiated? Like it will take it as a overall one, or if we
Yes,
need like both.
you will start with an opening balance. So it doesn't matter, like from the point of view of the activation, we are in a current year. We're not going to the prior year. We do offer this option for the accumulated depreciation because of
Like
the way the depreciation is presented in the asset roll forward, but the gross book value should be the total balance that you had when the at the cutoff date.
okay, in case if mid of the year, like example, the set carryover balance will be calculated from 1st June or 1st July like that. If it is a mid of the year, like first 6 month we have to example we have reassessed the contract on 1st May, but the transfer carryover balance is happening from July. So when that time, what we have to do it? The same procedure.
Yes, you will take your balance at the end of June. Your ending balance will become your opening balance here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on. We need to take into consideration few points while using the carryover function. So first thing is there should not be any event in the first period, and then the prepayment and the incentives, they are already included in the balance, and so no extra terms are required for it. And another thing to note is that the GBV amount cannot be less than the sum of accumulated depreciation, accumulated impairment, and current year depreciation amounts. Now let's go to the application. Here we have an active contract. Let's go to the lease component level, terms and condition. We have a standard term for 10,000. The base rent is $10,000. Amount frequency is one time and payment frequency is monthly. And the validity is from January 2022 to December 2022. Right now, the contract does not have any carryover balance. The contract currency is US dollar, and the company currency for us is Canadian dollar. Let's say for some reason we had to terminate the contract and we need to recreate the contract from June 2022. The first thing I do is generate the asset roll forward report, which is available in the compliance report. Under disclosure report, we can select asset roll forward report, and we need to make sure to select the company, and we need to make sure to select the company currency, since we will have the details in the contract currency, and we also need the details in company currency. So I'm selecting 10, and I can take the details for the accounting standard, IFRS, and the year 2022, and the contract ID is I have already pre-generated the report, and it's here. Here we can see the report is from 1st Jan 2022 to December 2022, and the currency is my company currency and for this contract. And I need the details, the opening details as at June 2022. So I have the opening balance, 118,000. And then I have the opening accumulated depreciation, that is the past 5 months depreciation, so 49,319. And I have that detail in my company currency. So now let's go to the application and create a contract. So I'm copying this one and naming them carryover balance. And I'm copying the lease component. And under lease component, we have the carryover balance details. So again, I'm going to the asset roll forward report, and I'm taking the company currency first. So 160, 210 as the opening GBV, and the accumulated depreciation in company currency. And now those details in the contract currency. So I'm selecting 118,000 and the opening accumulated depreciation in contract currency. And I'm going to the terms, since we need the terms from June 2022. Selecting June as the first payment date as well as the ROU start date. Now let's go and approve the contract. And let's go to the activation group level. And under classification, we need to enter the override capitalization date. Let's say January 2022. And here, since my the switch is enabled in the backend for me for to get the details both in the main accounting standard and alternative accounting standard, I can enter the details over here. And at activation group level, we are allowed to change these amounts. So before doing that, let's send it to assessment. Now a preliminary schedule is created. We can go to the schedule. Let's take all column schedule. Here we can see the opening balances is 118, just as we input over here. And the opening accumulated depreciation is 49,319, which is also input over here, 49,319. But if you compare the depreciation amount, it's a bit different over here. So the depreciation should have been 9,863. This is because my terms and condition, the ROU end date has shifted. So I'm going to rework them. I'm going to the lease component level, contract level, and I'm calling it back. And then I'm going to the lease component level, terms and condition, and I am going to set it as December 31, 2022. Now, I'm approving it. And then I'm going to the activation group level. And again, I'm setting the capitalization date as Jan 2022. And I'm sending it to assessment. I can see the schedule now. All column. Here we have the depreciation. Opening depreciation is 49,319 and the depreciation is 9,863, just as we have over here. And it is as if the contract has always been active. Do anyone have any question? No?
No, we are clear.
Pardon?
We
we are
can't
clear.
hear you.
We are clear.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Now, again, let's rework. Since we have the option to have different amount for US GAAP and IFRS, they can see that. And here I'm changing the accumulated depreciation amount to 20,000 for US GAAP. And then I'm sending it to assessment. And let's check the schedule. We have all column. And for IFRS, this has not changed. So we have 49,318 and the GBV is 118,000. But for US GAAP finance, and if you go to the extreme right, oops, sorry. I changed the company currency and not the contract currency. So I'm changing the contract currency too. And then I'm sending it to assessment. The Jew, all column, and US GAAP. So here we can see the opening accumulated depreciation has changed to 20,000, just as we input in the alternate accounting standard details.